Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I found a number of interesting and related articles to the issue of how long will NATO continue fighting Russia in Ukraine. And the main thing, according to the articles I found, and I will present them here, the main idea is actually winter is coming. That's the first one. The second one, the West, NATO, cannot really produce as many weapons and ammunition as Ukraine would need to sustain the war. And then another reason is the so-called war fatigue. People get tired of fighting, not only the fighters, but the population, who you have to maintain the propaganda in order to have some support. And they've been doing a good job for the past, 14, 15 months. And well, let's see. I will start with this first article coming from Russia Today, and we're going to discuss this one primarily. So obviously this is based on some information received from the United States. Actually, Ukraine has 5 months left, end quote, to impress US. So this is an article from today, the 18th of May 2023. The West cannot keep its military aid to Kiev flowing, and I'm quoting, forever, several senior officials told the Financial Times. Ukraine has 5 months to demonstrate some, and I'm quoting, advances to the US and other Western backers to convince them of its plans to the conflict with Russia. For the conflict with Russia, the Financial Times reported on Thursday, citing several European and American officials. So that's Financial Times saying, not Russia Today. They just took it and dumped it on us. Washington is entering an election cycle and has to show that the massive military support the US and its allies have been providing to Ukraine has not been in vain, the paper also said. Well, that could be solved very fast. That's why you have a mass media. So I don't think that's a reason, because remember, Joe Biden was portrayed as the fittest, fastest thinker in the whole United States of America when he was about to come out of his basement, if you remember. And we heard him, we saw him, and he still got elected. So the mass media turn it in a certain way, and you have a certain strata of the population, a certain segment that will just do it, whatever the mass media, those guys that are in charge, would tell the if you know what I mean. So mass media is doing a good job. We have a lot of dumb people populating this planet together with us, the smart ones, if you know what I mean. So let's go back to this article. And it is important, yes, it is important for America to sell, and I'm quoting, this war as a successful one. That's not a big deal, as well as for domestic purposes, to prove that all of those aid packages have been successful in terms of Ukrainian advances, a European official told. Again, if you ask a big chunk of the American population, they will tell you that the Ukrainians are winning. Why? Because the only source, the information they have, is from here. And they don't bother to do a little bit more clicking, because those guys are portrayed as evil. Therefore, you don't listen to evil people, right? Your mommy told you that, I hope. So in this case, they know that Ukraine has been winning since, February 24th, 2022. If you show them a map, they will find something. They're not those kinds of people that will say, well, let me understand, let me see. Maybe I was fooled, maybe I was wrong. Maybe you were wrong. Let's see. What's the evidence? Well, this is the map. This is where it started. This is where we are right now. Is that an advancement or it's a retreat? Well, I think it is an advance. Okay. If a person would be a minimum 87 IQ. All right. So let's go back. So don't worry about selling the war. No, that's not a problem. The problem is something else. You'll see. Now, the polls show that public support for Ukraine is waning in the US, and President Biden's administration has to show that the tens of billions of dollars it spent on assistance for Kiev made a major difference on the front lines, the media outlet said. According to Financial Times sources, Washington believes the next 5 months are critical to the outcome of the conflict. And I'm quoting, if we get to September and Ukraine has not made significant gains, then the international pressure on the West to bring them to negotiations will be enormous. End quote. Another source told the Financial Times on conditions of anonymity. September will see the United Nations General Assembly and G20 Leaders Summit take place one after another. Both events could be used to make the warring parties sit down at the negotiating table, Financial Times said. The Western military support for Kiev is also about to reach its limits, the source warned, and I'm quoting, the message to Kiev is basically that this is the best you've got going to get, end quote, a European official told the paper. And I'm quoting, there's no more flexibility in the US budget to keep writing checks, and European arms factories are running at full capacity. It's a full war. End quote. The US continues to be Ukraine's biggest backer when it comes to arms supplies. Washington's allies are concerned about its capacity to maintain the support and expect it to decrease in 2024 amid a US presidential election. And I'm quoting, we can't keep the same level of assistance forever, end quote, a European official said, adding that the current level of support might be sustained for a year or two, but no longer. Well, I would also add to this one, it's not necessarily the election issue that is right here, but the NATO put almost everything there. Tell me what they didn't put. Two things. Military personnel, and that's not going to happen. Like, okay, France is going to send 50,000 French people to fight the war against Russia. Germany will send 0 because they're not allowed. Americans going to send, 1 million of pink-dressed fighters and so on. No, that's not going to happen. That's one. And the other one is the nuclear weapons. That's all. They sent, and they will send warplanes, which it seems like they're not going to play a role. It seems like the drones do a better job, and the long-range drones, again, do a better job. The rockets, the air defenses, the rockets, long-range missiles do a better job than an airplane, unless a missile is launched by an airplane, that's all. So airplanes are really not a factor. But even if you take that, they already got it. Got a MiG-39 against MiG-29, sometimes Sukhoi 35 or whatever. Okay, whatever you want, but it's the same thing. And they will get probably F-16s operated by Ukrainian pilots, but I don't think that's going to happen. That's why they keep postponing, I think. So the NATO employed everything they got. There's no more aces in the sleeve, nothing. Nuclear weapons, no. Military personnel, as I said, no. In the Black Sea, nothing. What do you think? It's going to give them what? That's not going to happen. No submarines or anything like that. There's not going to happen anything over there. So there's no more to give. And if Russia did not crack yet with everything that they got, yeah, you can supply the same shit that you've been supplying. Howitzers and tanks and HIMARS and Patriot and missiles and all that. You can supply that. But that's going to take out of the production of your countries. Instead of building, cars or, build roads in your country and have electricity kind of cheap and so on. No, you send it over there. Maybe that's not a lot. Considering that it's about, $100 billion. Well, it's not that just look at the U.S. Military budget. $850 billion a year. And that's all. And these guys we're going to give $100 billion in assistance. That's not it. But that creates other problems. It's not the assistance, the money that goes over there. Yes, could be used here. But it's the inflation. These guys don't even know what to do with the economy. The banks are collapsing. The energy prices are going up. The groceries, the gas, all this is going to shoot up and winter is coming. So all these things put together, they cannot sustain it. If the Russians continue to do what they do, they will continue to whatever, keep it. Oh, you're going to run out of everything you got. Now let me show you the other articles that I was talking about that would come to support this, and I will make some videos on one at least of those articles. So let me go to this one right here that will make a point, and it is Ukraine's Western partners, and this is from Business Insider. Ukraine's Western partners are short on weapons and can't churn them out fast enough to fuel a counterpunch for long, defense experts say. So that tells you, together with this one, which is US wants to freeze Ukraine conflict. So they want to do like a Korea situation. So US wants to freeze it. The other guys cannot make enough weapons, the number to sustain it. And the other one is the one I just said, 5 more months and the election cycle and all that. So I think if the Russians do not crack by November, we might have a lot of pressure on the United States to say, okay, call it quit, or maybe you're going to have a little freeze war. All right, I think. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just. And the war will be portrayed here as a victory. And the Russians will portray it as a victory as well. So we're going to have two victorious sides.